So what we have here is this lithograph designed for a poster of an exhibition that he was having in Paris. And what we have is Ensor himself, surrounded by what he calls evil spirits, these extraordinary creatures, humanoid in some elements, but actually quite fantastical in others. And I think this gives us a bit of an insight into Ensor as an individual. He was quite a tortured and often isolated figure. And a lot of this stems from the fact that he went to art school when he was 17 in Brussels, and he found that experience extremely unsettling. He was at odds with his tutors. They didn't like his work, they didn't like what he was doing. He was not conforming to the teachings that they had, and he felt very isolated and hugely criticized. And this was something that he carried on in his professional life after he left the school, when he submitted work for the salons, which was often rejected. The critics were often very critical of his work and demeaning of him as an artist. But he was very convinced about his own ability and never wavered from the art that he wanted to produce. He refused to conform to what the society or the establishment were doing at the time. And I suppose one could say that this painting is a bit like the metaphor for the world that he lived in. He saw himself as quite rational and sane, and all the people around him quite the opposite. So of course the irony is, for somebody who's quite rebellious, later in life he became very successful, he became acclaimed as an artist, he made a lot of money, and he was also given honours by the establishment. He was made the equivalent of a knight. He was given the equivalent of a knighthood and made a baron by the king. And at that time, when he was coming up to his 70th year, that was the moment he renounced his English citizenship to become a Belgian.